Hey you guys, okay, I'm gonna see how this works out. My phone is about to go dead, so I've got it plugged in and barely propped up. My phone stand broke. Anyway, I just want to touch on a couple of things that are interesting to me. First of all, the reason that I make these videos, okay, this had been planned years ago, that I was going to create content, do some writing, whatever, concerning my own childhood experiences and where I came from and how I cope with those things and just different things like that. Anxiety, all my experiences, whatever, right? Okay. So I had planned to make content like this a long time ago. And, well, before I could really start focusing on it, I got in a relationship 6 years ago, a very turbulent relationship. Someone came bounding into my life like a tornado, and because of my own trauma and my own patterns and things that I still needed more work on, I just kind of threw myself under the bus with this situation, and we went from there. It was really over my head, I admit that, and there were a lot of things I had to learn that I did not understand what was going on. So that's the reason I started changing direction on the content of my videos. I had already planned to make videos all along, to be very public, to do all this. But the content changed after things started happening in my relationship behind closed doors that I did not understand nor know how to cope with. And I initially was hoping to make a difference. I was hoping to reach him. I didn't know the term gaslighting. I didn't know what it meant 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't know what narcissistic abuse meant 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't even know the real roots and meaning of a narcissist 4 or 5 years ago. I do now. Even though I grew up in a family with 2 parents who are very high on the narcissistic spectrum in their own different ways, and abuse going on in my home and all sorts of things. And I had experienced gaslighting before. I had been surrounded by people like this growing up. I still didn't technically, and even though I'd studied psychology, been in therapy off and on for years, making a lot of that my primary focus, I still had not, a lot of things you don't know or you don't learn until you live it, until it comes into your life, in your face and in your experience, and then you learn it. So, I had dated people that had high narcissism before, but different types. Their approach was different. And so this was a type of narcissism that I wasn't familiar with, didn't know what it was. And it really threw me for a loop. This whole damn situation threw me for a loop. I mean, when somebody's grieving the death of their child and they are pushing and pursuing a serious relationship with you at the same time, and they have all these, and you don't even know them that well. You know them, but from a distance, and you're trusting in them from what you know of them, and they're pushing that fast to get that serious, not even giving you a chance to be their friend and really get to know them for a while. That is not a good sign. And that is what was happening. And the pressure. And I knew that wasn't a good sign, but I couldn't stop myself. I felt so deeply for his grief and I did not hold him to the same scrutiny that I would another person because he lost a child. And I overlooked a lot of those early warning signs and overcompensations that I knew weren't right. So we ended up where we ended up. And, but I started making, changing the content on my videos because I was being gaslighted and manipulated and all kinds of things were going on that I didn't understand. And so I just thought, you know what? I know it looks bad to some people. But hey, if our relationship isn't that important to you, that's what a narcissist can do. They can betray whoever they want. That's exactly what a narcissist does. They exploit everyone for their own damn needs all the time. Nothing is sacred to them. Everything is a fucking transaction. Well, I got sick of that fucking shit happening to me. And you know what? On a different level, I can take that adversity and that pain and that betrayal and everything that was happening to me. I can learn from it. That's my way. That's what I always do. They don't know me. I can take it and transmute all of that negativity and learn and grow with it. And I can also use it for something productive, which is exactly what I did. I know that pisses some people off, and I know some people see that as a betrayal. Why is she talking about this person? If she loves him, she wouldn't be doing blah, 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 blah. Listen, you have not walked in my shoes. You did not walk through what I walked through. You do not know what happened. And it was a maddening. It was a maddening situation to love someone and at the same time feel like they are your enemy. Feel like you have to stand against them. Like it will go against everything in your soul if you do not rise up against that situation and speak out about it, because it was that bad, okay? And no, there was no physical assault or anything like that. This was all psychological, emotional, and mental abuse and cruelty. Absolutely. This was more than your average everyday toxic relationship. Oh, somebody drinks, somebody cheated on somebody or some shit like that. No, it wasn't any of that. No, this was some whole other ball game where as more time went by, I was under more and more and more control, coercive control, manipulative control tactics, more and more psychological abuse. As time went on, I was just in the grip of this situation, and it was getting worse and worse and worse, and I just didn't know what to do. I honestly didn't know what to do because I loved that person and cared for him, and that is a sickness within me that I had to work on, that I had to get to the root of, almost killing myself for somebody, letting it get so bad to the point I was helping him so much and dealing with him so much to where I started having health problems, to where I lost almost everything I had. Was he going to save me? Was he going to turn around and pour that energy back into me? No. No, he wasn't capable of doing that. So, that's just a little context, okay, guys, as to why my video content changed and why I started doing what I was doing. But eventually, it has nothing to do with him. This is my content, my project, my shit from my life and things I want to do. All right. My main goal for all of this is to make a difference. Make a fucking difference. Make a change. Everybody I have ever loved in my life has either been an addict or had mental illness or had narcissistic personality or something going on with them. Have been abused, broken, something. Almost everyone I've ever been close to in my life. All of my family members and I, a lot of my romantic partners, marriages, what have you, friends, yes. And out of all of it growing up, I just wanted to understand them. That's all. I wanted to understand the people around me, and I wanted to understand myself. How it operates. Why is it? What's going on? How can I better help these people without taking myself under? And it's taken me years to find those balances, and I'm still struggling with that. Balance, that's all I ever wanted to find. Balance my own narcissistic tendencies, my own manipulative tendencies, my own triggers and anxiety disorders and traumas and backwards patterns and all that stuff from my childhood. Learn to balance that out in myself. And if I can give anything back to others or be of assistance or comfort in their time of need with anything that I may have experienced, that's what I wanted to do. But I just couldn't learn it fast enough how to keep my own balance. And all I was really angry about in my relationship I wasn't angry with him for being an addict. I knew he was never going to stop drinking. He told me that. He stopped drinking hard liquor, drank beer, but no. In fact, I knew his level was so bad that, yeah, you better have a beer, man. I didn't give two shits about him drinking. That was never a problem for me. I knew he was never going to quit. That was a lifelong thing for him. It's not the surface shit that everybody thinks. I didn't give a shit about any mistake that he made. In fact, I knew somebody having that much grief, that much trauma, who hadn't really been able to work on it all their life because they had to be strong, they had to be a provider, they had to be a caretaker, they had to hold it together. I gave room. I figured for a year or two at least, he was probably going to make a lot of mistakes. He was probably going to go through a lot of shit. I left room for that. Big deal. Okay, I'll try to handle it. I'll try to handle it. I never had a problem with any of that. It's just that when a person has waited that long until they are 40 years of age to address any of their wounds from the past, to address any of their patterns, they've had a lifelong substance abuse problem. When a tragedy comes in and happens to them like that, then everything they have never dealt with in their life triggers up to the surface. And that's what happened. And he brought that to me. I got that one. Joke, but for real. I always get the hard ones. It's just the way it is. It's just my life. It's my energy. And I am empathic like that. I do draw people in like that because I do want to help people heal. That is a passion of mine. Yes, because I was broken. I've been traumatized. I need to heal. And while I heal and learn and grow, I like to share that with others, but others that want it. Others that don't want to manipulate me and confuse me and pretend like they want it, but they want it for toxic, selfish, draining, life-sucking purposes. And then come to find out, these people are really, really tormented and they need some extra help. More help than I could ever provide them. It really wasn't my responsibility. And I dove in there and threw myself under the bus and it was way over my head. There's a lot going on there. And I was alone with it for a lot of years. And I didn't really have anybody to go to and be like, hey, this is what's going on, yada, yada, yada. Because he was so hell-bent on protect everybody's feelings. Don't say this and don't tell that. And I did for years. I was there alone, drowning with all of this. Too scared to go to the parents or anybody. Oh, I don't want to burden them, and oh, I don't want to worry them. And this person that I cared about needed real help. Real help. People need to learn to fucking face things, man. I couldn't stand it. I mean, my family might be a bit brutal, but we bust each other out. We tell each other what the fuck is wrong with each other. Shit, we get it on the damn table. I couldn't stand all that. Oh, we don't talk about that. No, don't say that. Everybody just holding everything in. Everybody fucking about to blow. Passive aggressive. And fuck that. I cannot deal with that. Everybody's got a smile. I don't do that. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm human. And everybody else can go buck wild. Everybody else can get ruthless. Everybody else can go off the deep end. But boy, when I fucking do it, it's a big deal. And I'm not even doing it in some self-destructive ass way. I'm not even trying to do it in a way that puts other people at stress and burden. I'm trying to do it in a fucking productive way. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm a human. Shit was over my head, and this is the coping method I chose. Some people choose crack. Some people choose to get fucked up out of their brain. Some people choose to self-destruct. Some people choose to go eat something. Some people choose to go dance. Some people choose... There's many ways that people cope. Some people get real quiet and they hold it inside. Some people write in a journal. Some people make art, music. I've done all those. That wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. None of my usual coping methods were good enough this time. Because this shit was weird. And it was painful. And I didn't know what the fuck was happening to me. But I've learned. Okay? So that's that. Anyway, before I close this video out, I want to talk about empathy a little bit. It fascinates me. I learned so much. Pete Sapper at The Chosen 144, I have learned so much from his work over the last year or so about the spectrum of empathy. I was learning about that yesterday. Just like narcissism falls on a spectrum with all of us. And over time, we grow and develop and we outgrow a lot of our primary narcissism that we're born with. Unless, of course, we have narcissistic personality disorder or some kind of trauma and we just don't get any help and it grows and it grows. Sometimes that stuff just doesn't balance out, guys. And then I guess that would be a personality disorder or whatever. But I do want to talk a little bit about empathy because I find it fascinating. But I want to put that out there. That my main goal with making content, sharing my experiences, is that I want to make a difference somewhere. That's what I want to do. I never wanted to hurt anybody. I love the person that I talk about a lot of the time. I know it seems like I'm angry as hell and it's this and it's that, but I'm not on that bandwagon. There's a lot of content creators out there. And this is a very popular thing right now. Everybody is vilifying or villainizing the narcissist. Everywhere you look. I'm not on that bandwagon. I will talk about the narcissist. I will talk about my experience. And I might put it out in an angry video. People are watching that. I'm getting more views on that. That is giving people information in a certain energy. I need to, if I'm going to be a content creator, I need to have something for everyone, a mood for everyone. If I'm pissed, I'm going to put it out in a pissed off fashion. So what? I am not on the bandwagon with villainizing the fucking narcissist, okay? There's no need for that. Because not all of them are fucking monsters. Not all of them are like serial killers and yes, the narcissist has always had a very negative connotation. It's always had a very negative, dark reputation. And people don't fucking like it. When they think of narcissists, they think of evil, terrorizing, self-absorbed. And a lot of people have these different pictures of a narcissist. A lot of people just think it's somebody who's prissy. It's so much deeper and darker than that. My God, it just drives me insane. Anyway, it is not a person who loves themselves at all. I'm not on that bandwagon, okay? What I want to do is educate myself. I've always been very passionate about psychology. It's like candy to me. Every little light bulb and connector that connects for me. And I enjoy learning about it because of my own past, my own family, and because of the people, other people that come into my world. I like to be able to understand them better. And listen, I'm not invalidating anyone's anger. Everybody in the narcissistic abuse community is fucking angry right now. And they have a right to be. They are barely coping, some of them. Some of these people are so high on the narcissistic spectrum that they have physically assaulted. They have abused. Everybody got a different level of abuse from their narcissist. Everybody got a different level of abuse, and this is not a one-size-fits-all thing. We cannot villainize everyone who is somewhat high on the narcissistic spectrum or has narcissistic personality disorder. They're not villains. to be quite honest with you, after studying a bit more, I'm really trying to understand this. It is a mental illness. We all need to get as educated as we can on this, man. Personality disorder is a form of mental illness. And that's what had me scratching my head in my situation. I was like, man, I don't know what this is. I don't know if I've ever been around something quite like this. You know, and there's different types of narcissism. I was used to the overt narcissist that just shows you their narcissistic tendencies. This was a totally different type of narcissist. Reserved, quiet, a little bit shy, the covert narcissist. Those are the manipulative nice guys of the narcissistic world. Nice girls, yeah. Totally different ball game. They are more codependent, more clingy. They love you, love you, love you. But once they get you in their web, from all the pain, trauma, damage that they don't know how to cope with or regulate those emotions, they will fucking hurt you. They will be spiteful to you. They will compete with you. And when you start seeing this, you don't even know what to think. You don't know what to do. You don't know what it is. You're scratching your head like, oh my God, I need to know what this is so I can know how to treat this person. So I can know how to respond to this, how to help this person. This isn't good. I know some people they just give up at the first sign of trouble. That looks toxic, bye. Okay, well, I don't do that when I love someone. I'm at least going to stick around to see if I can help. If we can work through this somehow. I'm scratching my head. I'm like, man, I don't know what this is. Is this mental illness of some kind? Is it bipolar disorder? Have you ever been to, have you ever had a psychological evaluation? I have. Have you gotten a diagnosis? Do you know your own diagnosis? I had to gauge, because we got involved so fast. I had to gauge where all this was. And I didn't know what the fuck it was. I really didn't. I mean, and we both had a lot of the same issues. Codependency, abandonment issues, triggers of all kinds, anxieties of all kinds. But I had quite a bit more therapy and not the same history with substance abuse. And I was much better at coping skills. I had a lot of training, thank God. So I had to learn. I had to start researching. Instead of just up and leaving, I started doing a lot of research, and I wanted to know, what the fuck am I involved in? And that's what every person who has been involved in narcissistic abuse says. They were led to start doing research, and they found out what was going on. And still, we don't have an accurate diagnosis. It's like avoidant personality or something. I don't know. But that's kind of what was going on. And I just want people to know that. Don't stick me in any one category. I am not on the bandwagon there's all of a sudden, that's how it happens with the masses. They catch on to something and they run with it, without doing the full study. Live with it night and day. Observe the situation night and day. Get into the mind. Understand all parts of it. A lot of people will just run with this shit like a witch hunt. I don't like that. I don't like that, because these fucking people are hurting, man. And people get pissed off about that. Even that bitch Amber Heard. Johnny Depp. That whole trauma bond. Oh my God. Both of those human beings are very damaged, hurt individuals. Whatever she has, borderline or narcissistic personality, both cluster B personality disorders, and a lot of that shit evolves and stems from early childhood sexual and otherwise trauma. Yes. Sometimes I'm finding through research it can be genetic. Sometimes it's just in their brain. Okay, so when we have this perspective and this knowledge, okay, this really hurts. It's like, oh my God, this really is a form of mental illness. These people need help. They need care. They need guidance. Now, whether it's something that you can get in there and get treated for and heal it right up, I don't think so. But I think with the proper medications and the proper guidance and the proper cognitive work, a person with even narcissistic personality disorder could do a lot better than what they do, running around targeting people and trapping people up and manipulating and catching them in a web and abusing them because they get energy from that. Fuck that. That's all I want out of this, is to make a difference. I want to help educate people, help people to understand, and I think it does help for the average everyday human being to speak out about things, because everybody hears things with a different ear. What one person might get on the internet and teach, well, hell, they may only be able to reach a certain crowd. We need people of all different varieties to spread that awareness, to share their information, and to put it out there. Because everybody's going to pick up on your vibe and receive you, not everybody's going to want it the way you're putting it down. And then there are going to be people out there that want it just the way you're putting it down, and they wouldn't listen to anybody else before you. And then when you came along, they finally got it. That's what I'm saying. Don't stop your message. So, man, this video is getting really long. I doubt I'm even going to be able to get it to upload. Now it's gotten so long. But that's always been my goal, is to make a difference. To make a difference somewhere. Why wouldn't I want to? What else have I got to do? I'm almost 46. That's what I do. I work on my emotional and spiritual growth. I want to love other people, share knowledge, do something productive with myself. And I fell in love with somebody 6 years ago that I still love very much, who I cannot handle because his addiction is so out of control, and his own pain and his own emotional dysregulation, and he doesn't really even have an accurate diagnosis, but from what I can tell is narcissistic personality disorder, some other things going on there. I can't take it. I didn't want to leave. That's why I'm so angry. And I know it looks bad. But it is what it is. And I'm trying to work my way through all of that pain. But we also have to know when we just can't make a difference. And we have to let go. We make a difference somewhere else. But I'm just saying that has been at the root of me this entire time. Just wanting to make a difference. Wanting to facilitate change, to help without letting myself go overboard. All those years of being the runner girl and the little savior, and that was supposed to be over 15 years ago when I had my first spiritual awakening, and I learned you don't meddle in other people's lives like that. You don't barge in saving other people. That's not your business. That's their business. That's their path, and you're interrupting it. Who are we to have the audacity to think we can save anybody? Right. But a lot of them will come for you, and they will torment you if you don't. You better help me. Don't you leave me. You're a bitch if you leave. Please don't leave me. I'll just die. A lot of people are in traps like that, where we know better, but it takes us a while to get the strength to shut it down. It took me a long time to get the strength to even start initiating letting go. We were very tight to each other in a very trauma bonded, toxic, tight, but we did have love for one another too. It's just that sometimes when you come from certain backgrounds, for you, love and pain are one and the same. And I had already healed enough to where I could accept love on a mature adult level. I didn't need to always be provoking my partner into get angry with me so I can feel like it's fun. Let's fight. Let's bicker. Let's cause, And then when they do provoke you and you get mad, why are you so mad? I had already grown beyond all that shit 20 years ago. Okay, but that's kind of what I was dealing with. A person who had not become comfortable with accepting love, and who, if it was too loving and too normal to functional, he would have to cause chaos. He would have to provoke something. Constant chaos is how a narcissistic person avoids all of their own pain, all of their own emotions. They can't stand normal of any kind. Well, fuck. When I started picking up on the fact that I'm almost like a pawn in someone's chess game or some shit, that I'm just, what? For a narcissist? For a person who's running from their emotions and their pain? And for an addict who wants an enabler? You damn right I fucking started getting mad. But then I chose to stay anyway for a long, long time. Yes, I did. But I'm going to close this out. I won't be able to get into empathy in this video, but I'll get the empathy video up, what I've learned, because it's interesting. All I really hope to do is make a difference in somebody's life. I really do. And I know I have to start with me. I have to continue doing my work. And I really do wish the best for everybody. I am not on a witch hunt. I am not on let's villainize all narcissists. I'm not down with that. I don't give a shit about that. We all have some fucking narcissism. So what? I understand where this shit is coming from. There is a mental health fucking crisis in this country. These people are traumatized. Okay? But here's the deal. They are also accountable for their damn actions. And yes, they know better. That's what a lot of people ask. Does the narcissist even realize what they're doing? Do they know right from wrong? Because it seems like they don't. They're very infantile in some ways. Believe me, I've had to deal with this shit all my life. I was more adult sometimes than the adults in my life growing up. Okay. Yes, they know. Intellectually, they know it's wrong. But emotionally, they have a hard time feeling what other people feel. Because of trauma. Because of trauma very early on. Some kind of trauma where they split out. And they are different. And it takes a lot of study. I'm still learning about it, okay? But I think it's important that we do educate ourselves about this. Because if not, we're just going to be going on a fucking witch hunt. These people really don't need bashing. They don't need... I'm not on that bandwagon where I want to sit up and torment the narcissist. And I want to torment you because you were abusive to me. I want to spite you. And no, I would be just as bad as that person. That is an emotional immaturity. A person who doesn't know how to cope with their pain. Every time they get hurt or afraid, their ego starts hurting. Oh God, I can't take it. Let me do something to hurt that person. That'll make me feel better. I did that when I was like 4 years old. I remember being a traumatized child. 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Being beaten, molested, controlled, traumatized as fuck. And I remember that feeling inside. Just a little tiny kid that I wanted to hurt the other little kids. And I didn't know why. It was just in there. Ugh. Because I was in so much pain and I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know what to do with it. I was too little to talk about it. I didn't know what it was. I was having